And welcome back to another BobBlast. Hi, I'm Bob Burridge, but I'm now in Mexico teaching a workshop. And so you're about to see one of my favorite best of BobBlasts. So enjoy it. And welcome back to another BobBlast. Hi, I'm Bob Burridge, and this one is all about color and design, composition, the design, and the color from the color wheel. Let's put those two together. And what I like to do with those subjects is you can do abstracts, and it's all about asymmetrical today, off balance. I like this one because we're constantly putting the subject matter right in the middle of a painting. And as you're doing it, you're telling yourself, I shouldn't be doing this. Well, now let's force yourself to get into one of those 16 different design compositions. And I've chosen off balance, asymmetrical, where you have a lot of something going on over here and the focal point going on over here. It's always something's a little askewed, and I love that. Whether you're doing floral, see, off center, off balance, pretty much off center and off balance here. Look at this one, a lot of empty space over here. And when I'm doing my abstracts, the figures, I do the same thing. Big tissue papers of collages and one little one way over here. Alrighty, this is the People on the Beach series I'm doing right now. A lot going on over here, but your eye still goes over to this tiny little focal point. Over here, one of my collage abstracts. A lot going on over here. One little surprise over here. It's like, what is going on over here? But this one is pretty obvious as far as being a whole lot over here and one little tree sitting over here. There's some more. These are my small watercolor sketches. I love the balance and non-balance. A lot of something one place, and another little one somewhere else. Off balance, asymmetrical. So I'm going to do 3 little paintings right now using my color wheel. So we'll be learning 2 things at the same time. Make sure it's off balance, asymmetrical, and how to use my color wheel. Let's get started. So here's my table set up. Everything's flat on the table. I have my wax paper and palette area all ready to go. Here's my water in big buckets of water. And notice they're on the same level as the table, so I don't have to dip my hand way down into deep buckets. So they're deep buckets, but on the same level as the table. Here's my color wheel that I'll be using. Yellow will be the dominant color. Blue will be the focal point color. So I have lots of different kinds of blues in here. And the hot pink, that's the spice color. And this blue, that blue right there. And a little bit of black and a whole lot of white, titanium white. I have 2 piles of white. I always like to have a backup. Here's my color wheel. I've already predetermined my color combinations, and that's the only colors I'm going to be putting out. My wide brushes. This is a 3/4 inch and a 1 inch wide brush. My paper happens to be Fabriano Studio Watercolor. It's hot press. Comes in a nice pad. I've already torn them out and made them square. I'm going to be working on squares today. And of course, a stack of my paper napkins. Let's get started. So here's a black and white of an asymmetrical composition. Let's start doing it with color. All right, paper towel. Wet the paper towel a little bit. Here's my dominant color. I know it's dominant because it says so on the wheel. So I'm making sure most of this is yellow. At this point, it's all pretty yellow. Now it's going to be a landscape, so I need to get maybe some blue in here, some little pink in here. There's the primaries right there. And some white. Let's get some white up in here. More yellow. Dramatic. some white down into here. And I'm going to make sure the eye goes to the dark part. Here we go. I should really turn this around so you can see where I'm going here. There we go. And one little one right up in here. Could be the village, one single little tree. And let's get more yellow in here. A lot more yellow. Nice and dark over here. In the shade over here will be slightly different. Again, more contrast. I'm using the same towel. I like it when the other colors come off inadvertently. So it's pretty loose. Should always start it loose. I believe in starting loose. So dominant yellow. Get some more yellow back up in here. Now the focal point. Focal point is that blue. It's kind of a dark blue. So I've already started it. Can't miss this. Bring in other kinds of blues too. Doesn't have to be just that one blue. There we go. Add some energy back into the painting. The clean paper towel, I'm going to use those two spice colors now. And the spice colors always go near or on the focal point color. So I'm going to put one down in here. It's pretty obvious on this one, isn't it? Can't miss this. And the other one is that light blue. More white into it. Here's a good example of putting the spice colors right into the focal point. And I'll come back in here and add some more white and some yellow in here to get it. There we go. Open it all up so it's not so right down the middle. That's what I like about acrylic painting, especially good acrylic paintings. Make a big difference, folks, because they have a lot of pigment. See, I can put wet into wet and it still looks pretty clean. And a bit more yellow in here. Well, pretty loose and abstract, and that's just the way I like it at this point. So that's how I put in the first layer of using my color wheel, and it's asymmetrical. A lot of stuff going on over here. Open it up a little bit, there we go. And stick with the color wheel. Now let's do another painting, all right? Now for this painting, I'm going to do flowers in a vase, at least close to it, using the same color. And I'm going to be using a brush this time. All right, here we go. So the focal point, start off right off the bat. It's going to be somewhere in there. All right, but I want the dominant color all over the place. All right, it's dominant, it's mostly yellow. Brushing all over the place. All right, using a different brush. I'm going to use the focal point color and put it right in here. Really loose. All right. And while I have that on my brush, I might put it somewhere else too. Something like this. There we go. Really make sure that this is not in the center. And there'll be some over here. Be some over here, different colors of blue. Maybe mix a little bit of yellow. We know it's going to work because we're using a very limited palette and using all those colors mixed up with each other. There we go. Again, very loose. Lots of water. And certainly a lot more yellow in here. And maybe the bottom will be slightly, maybe this color, the goofy color, pink. But it's the red, it's the purple red. Sitting on a table. And you're going to see some of that table through this glass vase, right? Again, this is just the beginning. I want to show you also the shadow. There'll be a shadow here. I'm going to make this even bigger. There you go, making sure you don't put the center in the center. We know that. We still put the center in the center, like a donut. Make sure it's a soft balance. All right. Get in, get out, that whole thing. I'm going to lighten up that shadow a little bit. Yeah, better. Very painterly. See, I love the paint that's moving around here with all this paint. Man, the pigment, it's almost like an oil paint. The pigment is so rich. And we'll do something way over here. There we go. Well, we'll stop at that point. Now let's get into some serious abstract. If that wasn't abstract enough, now I'm going to show you one on purpose. Now this abstract is asymmetrical also, using a different color scheme, but it's asymmetrical. Off balance, fun little focal point over here, right? Your eye goes right there, and look how small it is. But the design itself is totally different, totally different. Normally that would have been the focal point. No, I decided to change my mind and bring it back over here. I wanted to put the energy back on this side of the painting. Let's get started on an abstract, shall we? Okay, here's, again, using the same composition, asymmetrical, dominant color, gets that part out of the way. It's a dominant color. And I'm going to use my little brush and start getting some designs. All right. And we'll put one way over here. Put it in the golden section, right? There's your golden section. All right. And let's do another one here. There's big, strong graphics. That's what I like about this. Graphics. Thick and thin lines. Doesn't always have to be the same. So I'm working the energy over here. I'm ready to put in a focal point right off the bat. This is pretty quiet here. You may not see it. It may not be picked up because it's so wet. But it's working. That's the focal point. Boy, I love all this thick paint. Look at this. This on top of black paint, and it still shows up beautifully. Now, I'm not trying to make this a mechanical drawing, engineering drawing perfect. I want this to show the hand of the artist. You know, that, hey, did it with a brush, so it's imperfect, which makes it perfect. Here comes the focal point, the blue, and here comes the support crew. You don't need a whole lot, just enough to draw your attention to it. All right, starts to swirl around here a little bit. And the other color is pink and this light blue. Add lots of white to it so it really stands out. Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it up in here. Really throws your eye up. I'm going to mix up some yellow because that is the dominant color, but I'm going to make it more neutral. So the way I'm going to be making neutral is adding some blues to it, a little bit of black, and a whole lot of white. Yeah. So now it's like a gray yellow. But I want it to be a softer yellow, like this. It's still dominant. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time right now because these BobBlasts are so short. And you can practice these right off the bat. There we go. I like where this is all going. More water, and more yellow down here. And I think I'm going to have it come through here. There we go. So that's the way I think when I'm doing my abstracts. Kind of crazy, nice shaped designs. And that's just the beginning. That's stage one. And there will be many more. So that's color and design. Stick with it. Color, stay with the color wheel, and stick with the design. I particularly like this one, asymmetrical, so I don't keep putting things in the middle. It's great practice. Hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate showing you what works for me. Okay, and I'll see you at the next BobBlast. Well, wasn't that fun? So stay tuned for another BobBlast next week. Hi there, I'm Bob Burridge, and we're going to the Bahamas this February. I cannot wait to go there with you. Can you imagine doing a workshop, painting by the beach, by the poolside for 5 days of painting? I cannot wait because it's most relaxed. I call it a paintcation. Can you imagine painting every day? But there's the bar, there's the beach, and we're right there, we're relaxed. And we're creating wonderful paintings in this incredible Bahama aromas, the florals, and the wonderful aromas of the food cooking, and the ocean right there, fresh air, and perfect time of the year to get away, right? And to have a great time. It's my favorite place. I call it a paintcation. What a great name for it, a paintcation. And we're going to be painting loose abstracts. Wow! So I'll see you there, and I cannot wait to paint in the Bahamas with you.